Hi, welcome to this edition of Jamaica Magazine. On the show today, making ample use of the current showers. Also, a personal story on coping with lupus. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Stay with us. Those features and more are right after the news package.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, June 13. Government's partnership with private pharmacies for the dispensing of drugs to patients of the public health sector has seen a significant reduction in waiting time and a vast improvement in the filling of prescriptions. Minister of Health Dr. Christopher Tufton says since the introduction of the Public Sector Pharmacy Partner Pilot Program last December, over 17,000 prescriptions have been filled.
During the course of this year, we are going to ensure that we have this public-private arrangement in 50 pharmacies across Jamaica, in every parish, guided by some protocol. One such is that it will be within a certain range of the hospitals in the parish, so persons can walk from the hospital and go to that particular pharmacy.
Minister Tufton was delivering the keynote address at the recent official opening of the upgraded DrugServe pharmacy in Greater Portmore, St. Catherine. 16 pharmacies in 3 parishes are on the project, 4 in Maypen, 7 in Kingston and 5 in Montego Bay. Approximately 190 vital, essential and necessary pharmaceutical items have been approved for the program. Patients are required to sign up to participate and must have a Government of Jamaica Health Card or the National Health Fund card. Persons will be asked to pay $200 to offset administrative costs. Meanwhile, the upgrading of the DrugServe pharmacy in Greater Portmore will further improve the services offered to patients in the area. The project was financed by the National Health Fund at a cost of $42 million. The facility now has 5 dispensing windows, up from 1, a fully enclosed waiting area to accommodate 65 patients, and a counseling room.
Having opened officially this facility today, we will see a much more efficient, a much smoother transaction time, efficient time, the delivery of the service, and the people of Portmore will be the beneficiaries.
The Health Minister says the upgraded building will now be able to meet the requirements of the Pharmacy Council of Jamaica and international standards for people with disabilities. On average, the pharmacy dispenses 6,000 prescriptions for up to 320 patients each month. Children and elderly patients represent the majority of its clients. The Andrew Holness-led government has pledged to make its services the first fully digital system in the region. The Prime Minister says integrating technology into government services will not only create greater access to public goods, it will also increase productivity and reduce red tape.
We're not emphasizing the digital society because it sounds good. We're emphasizing the creation of the digital society because it will bring economic growth and job creation.
Prime Minister Holness was speaking at a recent e-governance briefing facilitated by the Inter-American Development Bank. He said the 2018 implementation of the $68 million National Identification System would be the first step towards achieving a digital society. And to facilitate online access to all government services, Mr. Holness pointed out that the state had signed off on a governance strategy and e-governance policy and had appointed a chief information officer to oversee the process. Executive Director of the National Solid Waste Management Authority, Audley Gordon, says he will be increasing the number of garbage receptacles in the town of Santa Cruz, St. Elizabeth. Mr. Gordon says this is to curb the illegal and willful disposal of garbage on the streets and in no-dumping areas.
We have discovered where several business owners in Santa Cruz have no arrangement in place to remove their garbage. We have seen where taximen, they have the different points that they gather all over the town. There's no arrangement in place for them to dispose of their box juices, their drinks bottles, etc.
Mr. Gordon was speaking at the authority's Solid Waste Day event held last Thursday in the town. And finally, a diaspora marketplace will be part of the Jamaica 55 Diaspora Conference, scheduled for July 23 to 27 at the Jamaica Conference Center. Chairman of the Jamaica Diaspora Conference 2017, Earl Jarrett, says the marketplace will provide for active business interactions for private and public sector entities that do business with the diaspora.
The idea here is that we're creating at the conference center a space for enterprises to showcase and sell their services. And so this will be, primary for those companies that can afford, whether booth or tabletop. And the government itself will also be there. Many agencies that do business with the diaspora.
Mr. Jarrett was speaking at a JIS think tank recently. Business operators interested in setting up booths can contact the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade or email their requests to mfaft.gov.jm/conference, dca@mafaft.gov.jm, or Lisa Ogilvie at CaribbeanEventsGroup.com. For persons attending the conference, registration before June 22 is $18,000 for the full conference package. After that, the rate goes up to $22,000. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.
We are men with a message, and the youth them need to hear this.
We know everything about thug life.
Been there, done that.
Prison and a nice place, stay in school.
Serious thing we I tell you.
And a joke thing this.
You can't tell me about hungry.
That's no excuse. Leave the badness alone. Nobody narrate you.
Them just afraid of you. Live positive, remember.
A gang is a dead end.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
Integrating technology into government services, protecting the environment, and bittersweet moment as Usain Bolt competes in his final race on home soil. At the top of the week, Prime Minister Andrew Holness called for more support for entrepreneurs who he called agents of growth in any economy. He was speaking at Tuesday's opening of the relocated Branson Center of Entrepreneurship Caribbean in Kingston. The center, previously located in Montego Bay, provides business support services to 88 Jamaican entrepreneurs in an effort to scale up their operations for positive economic impact.
The government of Jamaica is grateful, very grateful to you. And we encourage other business persons to do this, to make this investment in creating entrepreneurs. The more entrepreneurs we have, the more we will be able to achieve 5 in 4.
On a more somber note, Mr. Holness expressed deep regret at the passing of 2 of Jamaica's jewels. When news came Monday of Lady Ivy Cook's passing at age 100, the Prime Minister lauded her as an outstanding educator. And he said a significant gap had been left in the island's football program following Tuesday's passing of Captain Horace Burrell. In Parliament Tuesday afternoon, Prime Minister Holness joined discussions on a private member's motion on measures to improve mathematics and science performance in schools. He shared that through the Education Transformation Project, measures were put in place and significant investments were made in developing an entire teaching stream to improve mathematics performance. In addition to a national coordinator being hired, government had also put in place a system of measuring mathematics outcomes at the primary level through the Grade 4 numeracy test.
We are very much close to achieving universal literacy at the primary level. The emphasis now must be on universal numeracy. That will take some time. I would suggest to the member that, yes, we need to redouble our efforts, look at new measures, but we need to support the measures that already exist.
And as the island observed National Environmental Awareness Week, the Prime Minister gave an update on government's waste-to-energy program.
A report will be ready very soon by a consultant who is examining the options for Jamaica. And I'm hoping that very soon, I would say before the year is out, we will start on a program of having a total transformation on how we collect and manage and create a cycle of use for waste in Jamaica.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness was speaking at the 5th anniversary of LASCO Relief Environmental Awareness Program. He used the function to encourage children to safeguard the environment.
We can get them to appreciate that they have a responsibility. Then they will school their parents. They will get their bigger brother and their uncles and aunts and cousins. They can become the agent for change in their household.
By Wednesday afternoon, the Prime Minister was reassuring the credit union community that government's move to reform the sector would not change the nature of its operations. The reform will see the Bank of Jamaica having primary responsibility to regulate credit unions. Mr. Holness reasoned that though the sector had done an excellent job regulating itself for 70 years, government had a duty to protect the financial sector from crime, corruption, and terrorism.
Regulation is in everyone's interest, but of course the regulators have to ensure that in regulating they don't change the nature and character of this cooperative movement.
The Prime Minister was speaking at the press launch of Gateway Cooperative Credit Union 2017, now the fourth largest credit union on the island. It was back to Kingston Thursday for discussions with the National Partnership Council.
We're not emphasizing the digital society because it sounds good. We're emphasizing the creation of the digital society because it will bring economic growth and job creation.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness reaffirming the state's move to quickly transform Jamaica into the first fully digital government in the region. By providing online access to government services with the use of technology, Mr. Holness said greater inclusion, improved service delivery, cutting off bureaucracy, and greater efficiency would be achieved. The first step towards that thrust, Mr. Holness said, was the $68 million IDB-funded National Identification System to be rolled out in 2018.
All of this has to be coordinated. So we have signed off on our GovNet strategy. We have signed off on our e-governance policy. We are now trying to create the Chief Information Officer post.
Prime Minister Holness was speaking Friday at an e-governance briefing facilitated by the IDB. During the briefing, Estonia's executive director of its e-governance academy shared the country's achievement in making 90% of its services accessible in a digital format.
This is a great opportunity to introduce to the wider Jamaican population new technology for construction that can radically change the face of Jamaica.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness was speaking at Friday's Build Expo and Conference in Montego Bay, St. James. Mr. Holness pointed out that while conventional building technology had served the nation well, it was time to venture into newer ones.
There are other building technologies there that are just as strong, energy efficient, easier to build and manipulate, last longer, and far more affordable. So I'm hoping that this expo will introduce some of these new technologies and will help to challenge the cultural idiosyncrasies that we have about our built environment.
The Prime Minister closed out his week at the National Stadium to watch Usain Bolt run his last competitive race on Jamaican soil before his retirement.
May God bless you in your future endeavors. And on behalf of a grateful people, on behalf of a grateful country, on behalf of the world, on behalf of the sport, we say thank you.
Before Saturday's race, Mr. Holness granted the BBC an interview to speak about the legendary Jamaican.
What I admire about Usain Bolt is that he has managed to excel, to reach the highest pinnacle of the sport without any suggestion of impropriety in the sport. And that, to me, is not just a value to Jamaica as an ambassador, but a value to the sport and to young people as well, that you can achieve if you work hard. You don't need to cheat, you don't need to use artificial enhancement.
At Jamaica House Saturday morning, Prime Minister Holness met with IAAF President Lord Sebastian Coe, who who was on the island to attend Bolt's final race. Mr. Holness was joined by Sport Minister Olivia Grange. During Saturday's courtesy call, Prime Minister Holness received a copy of a book celebrating the track legend, published by the editorial department of the Gleaner Company Limited. And that's how we close out Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more of the news stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.
Be an active participant in your child's life. Spend time with your child. No phones, no television, no distractions, just the two of you. Get to know your child through play. Why not go to the park and get on the monkey bars? Sharing a meal can also be a time of bonding. If your child's in school, be involved in school activities. Speak with your child's teacher, follow up on their progress in school, and see how you can help. Assist them with homework. Attend parent-teacher meetings and support school fundraising events. Remember, your child's future is in your hands. Safeguard it.
So glad you are a child of mine.
Lupus can be deadly. However, with proper treatment and management of the illness, a diagnosed person can live a rich and fulfilling life. Don't take my word for it. Here's a true story.
I was diagnosed with lupus in 2008, but from my own knowledge of what is happening, I must have had lupus all my life, as it were, because I've always been having symptoms. But the challenge that I had was that I was always misdiagnosed. And so that is the focus of my, the challenges in terms of the doctors would think that I have something else and not lupus, but you'd have different symptoms. But I have systemic lupus, and lupus is not only systemic, but some persons just have what we call discord lupus or other little types, joint pains, and so on. But I have the full works. Well, I was extremely disappointed because I felt, oh my God, I have lived a good life. I have always been careful about what I eat. I've always been sure to exercise. I've used to be nice and slim and beautiful. And to hear that now I have this condition, I did not want to believe. And then it got worse after the diagnosis. You know, I had periods where I couldn't work at all. There was a 4-year period in my life that I never worked. I just couldn't work. I was just always sick. I was always in hospital. Sometimes I'm in intensive care, sometimes I am unconscious, sometimes I'm all kinds of things. So it has not been a very wonderful ride. In 2014, I became, my kidneys stopped working. So I was now in renal failure. And it means that I now have to go to dialysis. So there were days when I would just be so weak. My blood count, that's HB, would fall to a very low level. I had to get blood. I had to look at what I eat. I had to look at how much I do. I had no energy most times. I couldn't do anything. I just had to lie down in my bed. So just different things. You couldn't walk sometimes. Sometimes I can't talk clearly. Sometimes I can't see. Sometimes my hands are so sore and I can't use them. Sometimes just different things. My lungs would fail. Different things would happen. So I've been through the ropes. Mentally, it was devastating because I feel that that's not supposed to happen to me. So I went through that period. I actually went through a period of severe depression. I was just so depressed. I could not help myself. There were days I just cry and cry and cry. And part of that too is the medication that I take. Some of the steroids make you depressed. And then you look into the mirror and you look at yourself and say, who is this? I don't know you. Can I tell you, I have learned to love life and to live. And that is what is important to me. Each day counts. and I believe that I should live each day to the fullest. With lupus, there is this uncertainty. I don't know when I will be unconscious again. I don't know when I will die. But I am going to maintain the quality of life, and I'm going to have a good life, and I'm going to live. I have good family support. My husband is extremely supportive, my son. So I have them, and I have good friends. Good friends, the saying goes, good friends are better than pocket money. Then there's also the Lupus Foundation, which is important. There is a support group there. There are excellent rheumatologists there who will provide advice and help and care and just information. There's a whole host of books and tapes and all kinds of things that you can get information from. There is also the website that you can look at and get information as well. I've actually gone for job interviews, and I know I don't get a job not because I'm not qualified, but because I have lupus. So employers need to understand that people living with lupus can actually contribute and, you know, make adjustments. There are days, for example, after dialysis that I will come to work a little bit late, but I will work later to make sure that the time is there. I have learned that. It has no boundaries, it has no behavior, it has no conscience, it has no purpose, it has no time. It does what it chooses to do whenever. And therefore you need to be aware of yourself and what are some of the things that are your triggers, and therefore try to manage and monitor those. You must also be mindful of the medication that you have to take and take them carefully and take them well. You should also be mindful of your appointments with your doctors and make sure that you keep those appointments. I would say to you, help is available. Find some help, find some support. Talking about it helps. Don't feel that it is you are, because you're special or you're being punished why you have lupus. But recognize that this is just another thing that could happen to anybody. Anybody, color, class, or creed, rich or poor, man or woman. There are more women with lupus than men, but men have lupus as well. And so be aware of the symptoms, get help, get treatment. Don't hide away. Don't think that people obey you, because Jamaica is famous for that. But know that this is a condition that can be controlled. It cannot be cured. It can be controlled, and you can maintain a healthy life. Seek to work, seek to be involved, do what you're doing, treat whatever is happening. If it's depression, get it treated, get treatment, get help. Help is available.
To learn more about lupus, contact the Lupus Foundation of Jamaica via their website lupusfoundationjamaica.org or 754-8458. You may also visit them at 7 Barbados Avenue, Kingston 5.
Don't make diseases spread. Wash your hands with soap and water instead. Wash them regular or use a hand sanitizer. Make sure the germs them dead. Touching your eyes or your mouth or your nose. Wash your hands before you do things like those. After you use the bathroom before preparing food, come on, wash your hand them clean.
Growing up, our grandparents used to place buckets or drums outside underneath the edges of the roof to catch the rainwater. This water would come in handy for domestic purposes, such as watering crops. Now that we're in the rainy season, let's catch some water. Living on an island, we know from experience that periods of drought could be just around the corner. Here's one community's success at rainwater harvesting.
We get most of our annual rainfall during the May to June and October to November months. Periods when water is in abundance. But at other times, agriculture faces seasonal but extensive drought. Farmers like Mr. Campbell, who know the horror of drought, reach for solutions. And a good one is to store excess water from the rainy months for the dry season. Harvesting water requires some investment. These include putting in catchment tanks or ponds. In this model, rainwater collected from the roof of this greenhouse using a gutter is emptied into the pond, then pumped into an elevated tank, from where gravity feeds it to the plants in the greenhouse. Tyrone, who farms in a hilly area, collects the rainfall from the roof of his house into a tank built of stone and concrete. He then pipes the water into his field, where he irrigates using the drip system. Agricultural experts will tell you the size of the water harvester you choose to put in will depend on your preference and budget. In the end, you'd surely be saving on the cost of water and meet the important objective of improved production by reducing the impact of drought. The dry mulching technique has been proved effective in managing drought risks. It's a kind of farming that helps retain soil water in the ground. Farmers who plant crops with higher levels of tolerance to heat are better able to deal with heat-related constraints during drought. Research and breeding of drought-tolerant crops has therefore been an area of focus in the Ministry of Agriculture. Farmers being provided with drought-tolerant crops are able to build a resilient system that gives enhanced crop yields under high temperatures. This is where we have to leave you for now. Remember, disasters do happen. Be prepared. Until next time, take care.
Speeding through life and the traffic lights till somebody get hurt and the tears start cry. Save a life for the kids, for you and I. Save kids' lives. Make the road safe whether day or night, for pedestrians, passengers, cars and bikes. Save a life for the kids, for you and I. Save kids' lives.
Hey man, it's our job to keep the road them safe and protect care of the youth them so we know them safe and obey the road code. Don't race, no bother with the speeding case, make face and check your light them and your tires and brakes. Riders and the pillions who left the helmet. I put on the cell phone, no send no text, no matter what color they on your plate.
When you're on the road, take your time. When you're on the road, bear this in mind. When you're on the road, you can save a life. When you're on the road, when you're on the road, I beg you please be safe. Wear your seatbelt to keep you safe, and make sure your helmet's in place when you're on the road.
Hey, follow me. Well, everybody drive good and walk good, then teach the youth them how to cross good. I beg you obey the road signs, park good, and put the young ones in a car seats, all good. And everybody drive good and walk good, and we say young and old, I beg you cross good. Remember the dark clothes at night, that is not good. From you I use up the sidewalk, it's all good.
When you're on the road, take your time. When you're on the road, bear this in mind. When you're on the road, you can save a life. When you're on the road, when you're on the road, I beg you please be safe. Wear your seatbelt to keep you safe, and make sure your helmet's in place when you're on the road. When you're on the road, when you're on the road.
This is where the magazine closes for today, but there's a lot more to see on our webpage, jis.gov.jm. There you may find more information on government programs and policies. For more television features, visit our YouTube channel. We're also on other social media sites, or you may download our app from the Google Play Store to stay informed while you're on the go. Do have yourselves a wonderful evening. I'm Adrian Atkinson.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.